Do waters run deep? Oh, hey everybody. Just ignore me. Hi, my name is Old School Nerd. By the way, if you were here yesterday, you got to see me count down my top 5 artists, metal bands of 2022. Today, it's about albums. What are the albums that are in my phone, on my playlists, the ones that blow out the speakers in my vehicle on long road trips that Chelsea then goes, that was a lot, or the ones that she's like, yes. It just depends. Some she loves, some she doesn't. But these are the ones that occupy my phone playlist, both on Amazon Music and all my saved music that I love to listen to on a daily basis. Now, yesterday's criteria for the best metal bands of 2022 had everything to do with what happens on my YouTube channel. Algorithms, analytics, engagement from all of you. Today, it's about what goes on in my head. So it could get a little scary. Are you ready? Probably not, but we're going to go anyway. Hang on. Okay, let's start off by the fact that I'm going to do something that I normally wouldn't do. But 3 of the albums that I've played the most over and over and over again this year actually were released in the latter part of 2021, where some of the songs that I love were released in 2022 as far as videos. So I'm going to include those 3 albums, and then we're going to get into the countdown. Now, I'm just going to let you know, total, we have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 albums that are listed. Now, I'm going to give you 3, which were released technically last year, so they shouldn't count. But I've listened to them so much this year, I got to put them in the list. Let's start off with the first one. The first one is actually from a German band. And what's really odd is even though this band's album, Memento Mori, is not in the top 10, there's another German band that this year released an album called Memento Mori, and it's number 10. Let me just explain it. Memento Mori by Feuerschwanz. It's my first one on the list from 2022, even though it was released towards the end of last year. If you remember correctly, and hopefully you do, Feuerschwanz loves to release their albums at the end of the year, which kind of spoils it if you're trying to wrap it up by the end of this year. In fact, their new album, which is going to be mostly covers, in fact, I think it's all covers, comes out the 2 days before the end of the year this year, like December 30th. How can you equate that to this year? Well, we won't. We'll put it to next year. So that's why Memento Mori does make this list. Now, the first track that came off of this one was deep and dark and heavy and talked about the weight of life and that we're not promised forever. We have to grasp what we have to this life and share it with the world and live life to the fullest. And from then on, it became a party. This entire album has not only amazing originals, but has 2 covers, Blinding Lights and Warriors of the World Unite, which is a collaboration of many different artists together to do one of the best covers of that song ever done. So that's my first one. Technically, it's number 11, but we're just going to say it's Feuerschwanz, and they deserve it. Okay, so there you go. Next one up, Ginger, Wallflowers. Now, I know this one came out last year, but some of my favorite songs didn't come out until, well, 2022, toward the very beginning of 2022. And things got really dark and scary for Ginger. Why? Well, because the Russian invasion of Ukraine at the beginning of this year kind of threw everything into a conundrum. So their album became literally on my playlist on repeat during that time where we didn't know where they were. We saw videos of Vlad and Eugene driving supplies to those in need in Ukraine during wartime. We had no idea where Roman was, and all we hoped for was that Tatiana was okay. Come to find out, all of them are just fine because they just wrapped up a North American tour, and they were great ambassadors for their country, much so than other people. But this album, outstanding. When you're talking about groove metal, or you're talking about funk interlined with metal and jazzy, groovy, blues style, Ginger has it all. That's Wallflowers. Okay, next up, let's get into another one from last year that is still every day on my daily playlist, especially in the gym. Gojira Fortitude. Now, I know this one came out last year, but that one still, it's going to be the last one we list. It's from 2021 on this list. But when I tell you it's literally on playlist every day, it's because of its complexity in the rhythm section. As a drummer, a lifelong drummer, the rhythm section of Gojira is one of the best in metal, period. Try to keep up if you can. The changing in time signatures, the different arrangements are unique. Plus, a lot of their album covers social issues and earth health issues, oceans, the Amazon, and so on. So Gojira really takes their place on not only just, I'm not going to say their album is feel good, but it has a heavy weight to it, both story-wise and musically. You really can't touch them. All right, now, let's get into those that are actually from this year, okay? Remember we talked about Feuerstrance being from Germany and their album Memento Mori was one of the best albums we heard in 2021 into this year? Well, our number 10 band is also from Germany, and they're no longer independent. In fact, I think they just are really catching fire into really getting close to that label connection, and that's Hostage. Now, they released an album this year. Their breakout from that independent scene of post-modern metalcore and that modern metalcore genre in Germany, this album has back-to-back songs. In fact, in the month of October, our entire month, every live stream had them as the background music. Songs like Game Over have been just complete amp ups. If you want a good segue song to start any stream or a workout, yeah, cue up Game Over on this album. But that's not the only song. There are literally 10 songs in this album that are constantly on my playlist. Some of them are inspiring. Some of them are depressingly troublesome stories to be told, but they're done perfectly well with an arrangement that is way beyond what you would expect from a band that's just breaking out of that independent scene in Germany. Look out for more from Hostage in 2023. This album just came out. It's outstanding. Now, next up, one that everybody knows about, Lorna Shore. The Pain Remains. Okay. You would buy this album just for that trilogy. The Pain Remains trilogy would be enough to buy this album. But there are also songs in here that hit just as hard. They're like swift kicks in the face with a golf shoe. There's a level of heaviness, speed, musicianship, and of course, Will Ramos shreds with that voice in more ways than one. But again, I think what made this album just explode when it came out was that trilogy, the Pain Remains trilogy, where they did those 3 videos back to back to back, where they told a haunting story of a couple where the loss of one caused torment and destruction for the other. If you haven't seen the Pain Remains trilogy, go onto YouTube now and watch it. It is one of the best storytelling series. I mean, I don't even see Netflix or HBO or Amazon Prime or any network putting out drama like that. And it's a YouTube music video series. That's how good it is. Of course, you knew it had to be on the list. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this list. One that people thought would be higher, but it's not, and it's not their fault. It's just hard to have this album on the playlist because it will make you have traffic accidents, road rage, and make you jump out and punch a cat. Rammstein, Zeit. Yes, Zigzag and Dick Titten are fun time, good time songs. They really, really are. But there are a lot of songs like Adieu and Zeit and other ones that are heavy. They bring up emotions of pain, sometimes anger and loss. And they do it in such a heavy and emotional way. If you're not careful, you'll wind up with a speeding ticket for road rage. So, although many people think that this album should be higher on the playlist or on anyone's top 10 list of albums for this year, yes. But on my playlist for Old School Nerd, my personal choice, this is where they're at. Not that they're not amazing, but can I be honest with you? I would rather watch all of these videos on YouTube than have this as an album playing in my vehicle driving around. Why? Rammstein is a dish that is best served cold and visual. Whether it be on their videos or in a live concert setting, nobody does a better live show than Rammstein. I know this because they single-handedly caused 5% of the propane and natural gas shortages in the EU. That's not true, but maybe. All right, let's get into it. Now, one that nobody, I think, thought of, but you need to be aware of it. Those of you who love my channel and know where my channel started and the journey we've been on these last 2 years is going to be like, of course. The rest of you are going to be like, wait, what? Who? Fanmade, Unleash. Fanmade released Unleash. Wow. What a tongue twister that is. Speaking of tongue twisters, try to follow what these ladies do musically. Just Misa alone on the bass can make you go, what was that? What was that? But there's more to it than that. All 5 of these members can carve amazing stories, and their album is something that can give you energy. It's one of my favorite albums to play on cardio day in the gym. Why? Because there's a certain level of, I guess, pace that they set that's hard to keep up with, even on a treadmill. But here's the thing, they do a great live show, their videos are amazing, and even if I don't speak Japanese, it doesn't matter. The songs connect. I don't speak German, and I love the Rammstein album, so there you go. It makes sense. Now, this video is going really, really fast, and that might be a good thing, because we have a lot to get to. All right, next up, we are now in the top 4 albums on my playlist of 2025. Can anybody take a guess what the top 4 are? Well, 3 of them you probably know. One of them will shock you. Ready? Electric Cowboy, Techno. Again, just like the Fanmade album, Unleash, this is a tour de force of creativity and sometimes silliness. They can go over the top like 5 Japanese metal artists wearing maid costumes. That's the level of creativity, except this time it's bowl cuts, power mullets, neon, and air humping. I'm not joking. Look, every video is fun, okay? Seeing their live performances is something I wish if I would have gotten a chance to do, except they canceled the US tour. So I get to see all these videos of this amazing tour they did in Europe, and I'm jealous as hell. I really am, I'm not gonna lie. But here's the best part. Techno is a great listen, just music-wise. They have such an energy in their music, it makes you just want to get up and dance, even if you have no rhythm and white and fat like me. Yeah, I mean, I literally keep I have tiny hands on my desk. Literally, I might be playing a video game like WoW or Warzone 2, and I will literally be playing, and then, on the playlist soundtrack, here comes a techno song, and I'm like, I mean, it happens. That's why they're there. I have no reason to have these except for Electric Cowboy's videos and album this year. That's probably why they're number 4. All right, number 3. The highest ranked independent band on our list. Oops, maybe not. I know. This one, you may not know, but after this video, go look it up. It may be one of your favorites too. Redhanded Denial. Yeah, I'd rather be asleep. Now, this is an independent band. They do have a distributor. I don't know if they have a label. I don't believe they do. But Redhanded Denial, led by Lauren Babick from Toronto, Canada. If you like some of the melodic metalcore, postmodern metalcore, creative, switch up with a little funk and groove to it, a little bit of everything in your coffee, this is your perfect album. And I'm not kidding. We actually have this album playing in the car for 10 hours driving to Austin in traffic. And Chelsea and I had smiles the whole time. There's a little bit of something for everyone. They're a bunch of nerds. They have hilarious videos, but this song is repeatable. You can put this song in the mix, and every time it comes up, you're not hitting the skip button. That says something. When you have every song on an album where you don't want to skip a single one, it's playable and relatable. One of the best albums of the year, at least in my house. Please check this one out. You'll be surprised. Now, the top two, most of you should know by now. But what order are they in? Do you know? Of course not. I haven't showed them to you yet. Okay, here we go. Number 2, the boys from Sheffield, motherfuckers. Malevolence. Yeah, so this one isn't just in my top 10. This is in the top 10 of a lot of major metal publications. Malicious Intent is one of the hardest, most aggressive albums that is still relatable by the common metal fan. Look, a lot of people can't get into Lorna Shore. It's that savage. It's that aggressive. Not everybody can deal with the silliness of Electric Cowboy because it's that silly. It's that over the top. And not everybody can handle with the weight emotional of Rammstein. However, there's something for everyone with Malicious Intent. Songs like Higher Place can relate to someone's emotional journey. Still Waters Run Deep has a groove in it that reminds you of Pantera, but more modern style. When these guys played Still Waters Run Deep in Texas, when we were there to see them in Austin, the crowd just stood there with a little bit of a, what is this? And then you could feel it. There was a movement in that crowd. It was almost like, it really did feel like Pantera in that vibe. Their live shows are intense. They love the fans. Every song they've released, every video they've released that I've reacted to, you guys love them. Here's the best part. The album is playable. There are some savage ones. Salvation, pretty savage. Still Waters Run Deep, if you're a classic metal fan that loves a good groove, that's yours. Higher Place can be played to almost anyone and people can relate. So there you go. It's a perfect circle of an album. No. Not perfect circle the band. It's a perfect circle of an album. A little bit of everything for everyone. So there you go. One of the best albums of the year. Now, just like yesterday, there's going to be a lot of you that are going to be like, I don't like any of those bands. You know, why isn't Taylor Swift's band in there? You know, why isn't Moving Pictures by Rush in your top 10? I don't know. I mean, it used to be for years. But still, okay? There's some really good albums that came out this year. One of them is Ground Zero from Shinedown. And since I made that video a couple days ago, I've really enjoyed listening to it. It's kind of a pop out of nowhere for me. Here's the thing. It didn't make the top 10 because I haven't listened to it all year. But this one I did listen to all year. This band has been through a lot. And my number one album for Old School Nerd in the year of 2022 is from a band that doesn't have a label. And technically, at the beginning of this year, didn't have an album. They didn't even have a tour date. They had nothing. In fact, that's part of their story. If you haven't seen the documentary, I challenge you to do so. There's a little band from India. And they are the little engine that could. In 2019, they turned heads at Wacken and a few of the tour dates they had in Europe and put everyone on notice that they were there. And they were the keys to integrating Indian cultural music, the Punjabi style, with metal riffs, vibes, chords, and subject matter. Now, the subject matter of Bloodywood and this album, of course, Rakshak, is undeniable. Okay, there are songs about the Posh Foundation, which helps dogs that are displaced and in the streets. They have songs about depression. They have songs about political unrest. They have songs about, we need to start treating everyone equally and with respect. You know, songs against domestic violence, songs against domestic violence against women. It's all in here. At the same time, it is a hype album. I mean, every song literally makes you bob and weave. You're literally just moving. Even if you have no sense of rhythm, you're moving. You're moving. Because there's something about the sound of this band. In 2019, all of the songs that are on this album already existed. There were videos on YouTube. They were going viral. But they hadn't released an album. They had never been on tour. And in 2019, they got thrown into the mix feet first and in the deep end. So what happened was when COVID occurred, it cut all their momentum. But the guys from Bloodywood got into the studio and said, you know what we need to do? We know the people love this music. And after COVID is over, if it ever ends, we want to put out an album that's going to shock the world. And they did. So all the classics are in there, right? And like Jiva Ray and, you know, Ari Ari and all these classic ones that existed before this album came out are thrown into the album mix. But songs like Gadar and Dana Dan get thrown into this mix and explode out. So at the beginning of this year, when Bloodywood released this album, a lot of reactors were like, album of the year. It's January, right? Album of the year. In fact, they're listed in the top 10, top 5 of many metal publications as not only the biggest, best album by a metal independent band, but as a band, period. I mean, they're up there with Rammstein and all these other mega bands that are so big, they are their own labels. But it's still just a bunch of guys from India making it work, just themselves. I think they actually, one of the band members is the band's lawyer. What? I know. Okay, so there you go. My number one album of 2022 is Bloodywood. I saw Bloodywood live this year in Dallas, and they're as good live as they are on the album. And the album's amazing. All the videos they put out are amazing. Why? I really think, just like a lot of the albums on this list, there's a creativity going on in metal right now. Labels are stepping back and saying, okay, artist, show us what you got. Show us the inner rush. Show us hemispheres. Show us moving pictures. Right? Show us something. Show us a permanent waves. When Rush would do things that would make labels go, what the hell is that? And it would be huge. That's because the label got away from Rush and let them just be as creative as they wanted to be. That's starting to happen now, where labels are saying, yeah, I know radio's a thing, album sales are cool, but connecting to an audience globally, that's the big thing, because that's where the big tours come from. That's where the global appeal comes from. Labels are no longer looking at, we're a German band, we're a German label, so how big can we be in Germany? They don't think that way. They go up to the artist now and say, okay, artist, what can you do that's going to relate to the entire world? And then they let the artist go with it. That's amazing. And we're reaping the benefits from it. 2022 has been the most widespread audience footprint for metal albums ever. You have metal bands that are usually making albums for European audiences, having massive results, massive feedback, and fans yearning for them to come and visit in America, South America, Australia, Asia. It's really spreading around. Metal is universal. A happy time in our lives to be metal fans. That's my top list of albums. Starting all the way back at albums from 2021 with Ginger and Feuerschwanz and Gojira, all the way to the current masters. Look, my top 3 this year were Redhanded Denial, Malevolence, Malicious Intent, and Bloodywood. I mean, come on. Think about this list. Let me just run down this list one more time. A band from Germany, a band from Ukraine, a band from France, another band from Germany, a band from the United States, another band from Germany. Hey, Germany checking in. A band from Japan, another band from Germany, a band from Canada, some boys from the UK, and some boys from India. I think, other than the fact that there are 3 bands from Germany in the list, it's kind of global. And that's a good thing. My name is Old School Nerd. That was my list. Hope you'd enjoyed it. Let me know what your top 5 albums were this year. Yours are different? No problem. Share them with me because I want to know what I'm missing. My entire channel exists because all of you decide what I react to, what I listen to, what I put online. This is your channel as much as it is mine. I'm just the idiot with the beard that talks about it and will stand in front of the camera and dance for you with tiny hands and a shaker egg. Love one another. Take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. Tomorrow, a special interview with someone who I've been wanting to talk to for the last 2 years. He finally shows up. But here's the question. Is he wearing a hat? We'll find out. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Love one another. Take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right there. Big thank you to all my Patreons out there. We appreciate everything you do. If you want more content like this video, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.